Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I know I don't typically do videos like this, but I'm actually not all that sleepy right now, so just wanted to take some time and talk to you guys and have a little bit of fun and get some practice time in too. So let me kind of show you what exactly is going on with me, and I can kind of explain from there. So the biggest thing that I'm looking at right now is the NNSCRA Championship run. You guys saw the Darlington race from last night, to those of you who tuned in, and this is what it currently looks like. So let me pull up the current chase, the current point standings in the chase, and let me tell you about that. So here's the current chase grid: Zach Rogers, Cody Lamas, Rick Johnson, Jack Merkel, who won last night, Kilojule, Shane, Matt Stern, my buddy Corey got in, Seth Cole, who's a league admin, and then Patrick Schaefer. All these guys I've mostly raced against at one point or another. They're currently locked into the grid. And in the case of this series, similar to the current NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series standings, you win, you're in. You've locked yourself in as long as I believe you've made a certain requirement of X amount of races you've run. So let's go ahead and shut the chase grid down, and let's pull up the race standings so I can show you where I'm at. Balloon this up, and hopefully this will kind of work as I try to, at least. Well, I can at least tell you this. So, right in 14th position, I'm down one start. I missed. Okay, let me fix that. Sound any better? I don't know. Sometimes this mic is a little weird. It'll go like fine, and then other days it'll just act kind of wonky. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So, anyway, regarding the NSCIA point standings, we're sitting back in 14th, and we need to win a race at some point, or get like top 5, top 10 finishes. More so, top 5 and top 3 finishes is really what we need to try and chew into the points lead. Let me know real quick, is it too loud now? Because that's a big question that I have as well. Is it too loud at this time? Because hopefully not. So continuing on, so we're sitting back in 14th, and I gotta move positions. We have a decent amount of time before the chase starts, but my goal is personally to go forward and actually get into the chase. Where I end up in the end of the point season really doesn't matter to me too much, but to get into the chase, to get into the top 10 is an honor in and of itself. And we're technically only about 4 spots out of it. And we can get there. I know that I can. But it's going to require a decent amount of time and practice. In addition, at least for a personal goal of mine, I'm going to pull up the rookie points. And it's a little hard to see, I will agree, but we are sitting back in 5th place position. About 8 points out, roughly. 8 points away from the lead. And the way that it's calculated is that I don't think you get any bonus points for leading a lap, but the highest finishing rookie in the race gets X amount of points. So no matter where you finish, if you finish ahead of all the other rookies, you get 10 points. If you finish second and another rookie beats you out, you get 9 points. And it just trickles down. And we haven't had, and it's because I missed out on that first race. I think it's going to be a even harder uphill battle to get there. But as I see it, it's possible I can win Rookie of the Year, and I'd like to win Rookie of the Year, honestly. the way that I see it, it's not impossible. It's just difficult. But I need good finishes. So because the NSCRA League is a series that involves open setup racing, we're gonna try and set up a good feeling and get a good handling of the car for the race next week at Texas Motor Speedway. So we've got about 6 days, no, about 5 days roughly, to get ourselves race ready, get a good setup, and get us rolling. Now, the one thing that I've done is I've gone ahead and switched over to the Ford. It doesn't really provide any form of betterment or improvement in terms of how the car is going to handle. It's just an aesthetic visual. But because I run the 21 in Armra, I kind of figured I really do like the paint scheme that I made, so that's what we're gonna be kind of doing. So I've painted up a few cars. I'll go ahead and actually show them to you real quick. So this is our Darlington car that we ran a couple nights ago. That's pitched and out of the way. We're switching over to Ford, so we've got the Ryan Blaney colors that I'm a big fan of that scheme, so we got that set up with Ford Motorcraft sponsorship. If for some reason we were denied Ford Motorcraft because technically Eric Rodriguez does race with Ford Motorcraft in the league, I've got Nationwide as a backup sponsor, so there's that. Then I'd say if we have more bad races ahead, we'll just switch to a no sponsor car. And then just for variation and for fun, a discount tire car and a Pennzoil / Menards machine with about all the sponsors on there. So, alright, so let's go ahead and you know what? I think I'm actually just going to take this car out and we'll run that. Let's go out for testing session and let's see what we can do. And I got my, not exactly my cheat sheet here, but I have my setup guide in terms of how to tighten and loosen the car as need be. So let me grab my setup and let me check this real quick. Okay, I gotta switch back to Texas two-step version 1 with a higher spoiler on there. Let's see what we can do. Alright. Okay, good. We got an engine. Let's just build up the tire heat as we can. This is the track that we're going to be racing next week, so I've already got it downloaded. I don't think that they're going to change the chassis type or anything like that, so that does help me a bit. I did do some setup testing earlier tonight to try and see what I could do, and I found that this was one of the better ones. But I feel like in terms of backstretch speed, we need backstretch and front stretch speed. We need just a little bit more, and I don't know whether it needs to be adjusted more on the suspension area or the aerodynamics area. But something will need to improve because I feel like we should be going faster. Now, because of the fact that these are CTS physics, the problem is that it ends up planting the car a little bit, makes the car heavier to what I can tell, and I'm flat-footing it around this entire racetrack with the cut physics. Alright, thanks for pointing that out, Corey. 2 times and clear 70. 29. Let's fix that then. 2 times, clear 70. Alright, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. But because of the CTS physics, it plants the car a little bit harder into the ground as it kind of feels, because I'm flat-footing it all the way around here. I know that as time goes on, the tire degradation is going to cause the car to get looser as the run goes on. And considering it's Texas, it could go either way, but I'm led to believe that we'll get some good green flag runs on Wednesday, but we're gonna have to prepare for it. So by the game's logic, we got about 32 projected laps of fuel, and we'll keep my tire temps up. Take a look at that. But because of the CTS physics, as I was trying to say, it kind of plants the car a little bit harder into the ground, as I can feel. So you can flat foot it, but you're losing that much more speed because the car is just that much heavier on the physics side. So trying to figure out that is going to be a little bit tough. I can hear the tires scrubbing away a little bit of speed in the back end. I can just hear like this little bit of whooshing sound from kind of the side. Each lap, we are getting a little bit faster. Luckily, I actually like Texas a decent amount, so I don't see why we could not have a good finish here. I think as long as, more than anything, as long as we keep our nose clean and we manage to have a fast car, we might be able to do something. That was slow. Let's take a look at those tires. Right rear's burning up 200. If anything, I feel like the car should be looser. Like it's planted into the ground, but it feels like it needs to be just a bit, I don't know, actually way more freer, because it just feels slow. It just feels so slow. Like, I feel like we should be getting up to about 183, 185 miles an hour down the backstretch and be able to pull that momentum, pull that strength off into the front stretch. But we just can't. The engine isn't there, and I don't exactly know what to tinker in the engine, but I feel like if you mess with the engine too much, it's just going to end up killing you some way or shape. But if you mess more with the aerodynamics, that's going to help you a little bit more. Plus, suspension and aero can be changed a little bit during the middle of the race, so if you screw the engine up, you're stuck with it. You got no choice. You mess with the tire pressure, you mess with the suspension, you mess with the sway bar, you mess with the wedge. Those things can be adjusted mid-race. I know for a fact that of this, like, me asking for help in this extent, probably, like, that really doesn't help me in the long run, because someone could screw with their setting at, like, the last minute, and they'll end up still being faster than me. Well, I don't know. I'd like to figure out what exactly to do, especially at a 1.5 mile track, and how to be faster, and how to be able to get to that, like, get to that edge of a cliff in terms of pushing everything out of the car and feeling confident going into a race, rather than taking a base setup that someone gave me that may work well for them, but may not work as well for me. Well, I don't know how we set the fastest lap right there. A 29.775. Wow. And this car is so easy to drive. Like, I'm barely having to give it any type of steering to get it to turn through the corner. It's just there. It sticks. It runs. It's got power to it. It seems like it's a little bit flat. Like, it needs to have more power. By the way, if you guys have any questions or so, let me know in the comments below. I'll read them, and I'll answer them as quick as I can. Alright, we got 13 laps until I'm out of gas. Take a look at the tires, and we'll see where they stand. So if I had to pit right now, I'd probably go for right side tires only and leave the lefts on and then hope for whenever a caution flag comes out to get the rubber changed. Let's try and see what it does on the top groove. Slowed the lap time. It sticks, it doesn't feel loose up there. Oh wow, that was my fastest lap. All my laps seem to be getting in, staying well within the 29s. It's just, I think it's more of the front stretch, back stretch that I'm getting right and wrong at the same time.
Be ready to come in here and put the gas on it. 29, 7, 5, 2.
let's just say pit lane speed's 50.
44, 7, 2, 5.
So best lap was a 29.683.
Okay, go, go, go.
Alright. So looking at the data, 28.818. So, well, it makes sense that we were up in the upper 80s, 90s. And it took about 10 laps to get clicking into the 7s and 8s consistently. That was just a bad lap on lap 20, I guess. And then once again, continuously, lots of 8s across the chart. A few 7s here and there. And lap 28 compared to second and third fastest lap I think was 29.752, and second fastest was 29.750, which is on lap 21 and 28 respectively for the going in the other order. And the lap previous was the fastest one at 29.683. And I know for a fact that, without a doubt, what helped the car in the longer in that run was because we were burning off gas each and every lap. It lightened up the rear end of the car, which made it go faster, which is good. Grand question is what exactly do we got to do to get that going just a little bit quicker? Because all things considered, a 29.683 is not a bad lap. The big question is really this: what are other people going to do? What is their grand design and grand scheme to have a better setup? So I'm going to go ahead and export this and save it. Okay. So I'm going to head back into the garage. I'm going to save this as what was that fastest lap again? 29.683. Alright, let's take a look here. So the spoiler is down at 55 degrees. I feel like if we push that down a little bit lower, we can maybe get just a bit more speed out of it. If we do that too much, though, it's going to cause the back end to step out, and that's just going to be a slippery mess to deal with. Weight bias, we got the wedge knocked all the way back, and it feels fine. It's planted to the ground, and it's as loose as you can get it. Left bias is heavy, I'll say that. Well, let's try knocking back the spoiler a few degrees. Let's put it in at 50 and see what happens. And if we go down on the 4th gear, it's going to give us taller gear, smaller number. Okay. Let's knock that back 2 clicks. Let's see what we can do with this setup. Alright, we got the right setup in. What was that number again? Oh, I can just go into my setting. I can go into my garage and look. 29683. Let me make a note of that. .683 best. Okay. Alright. Let's try this setup. On exit, it already does feel looser. It definitely feels twitchier, but a loose car is a fast car generally. Just gotta keep steady in the road. literally 1,000th of a second slower on that lap. I think after this full fuel run, I'm going to call it a night. I'm actually getting tired now. So I'm going to run, I guess, another 18 laps and see where I stand, and that's probably going to be it for the night. 100th slower that lap.
Forty. 7, 6, 4.
29,757. What was the time I was shooting for? 29,683.
Okay, go, go, go.
Alright. So let's export those results. Alright. Dang. So, I think here in a while I'm going to take a look at these practice sheets and compare them out and see what really worked. I think I will say, strangely, in more consistency, the original version 1 of this setup worked better in terms of overall speed. Setup number 2, I certainly felt faster in the beginning, but that speed just kind of slumped off over time. So unfortunately, that really doesn't help me much. Comparing the two, I knocked down the 4th gear transmission ratio by 2. So I think if we elevated that back up to 1.080, we'll probably be able to get back the speed that we may have lost. But in regards to the drive-traded aero, I can't drop the spoiler all the way down. I don't know what exactly the limit is on the grill tape before the engine just will not cool. Because while we do know that the fixed variable is that the setup's going to be, that the track is going to be 70 degrees and clear, that doesn't necessarily guarantee or state that, oh, if you're in the draft for this amount of time, for this long, or if you have the grill tape at this certain setting, it's going to drop down. I've had races, and probably the best description would be the RL Winston Cup 98 race in Atlanta. Only reason why I really lost that was because I had to pit early because my car was overheating. I couldn't get the temperature to drop alone. Like, even when I was out in clean air and I didn't have anyone surrounding me, even just by running high speeds, it would cause the engine to start to overheat, and I can't have that. So you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna jack this up to, it's set 55 by default. So clearly there's something right here. Let's jack up the grill tape to 65, so we'll add 10 more percentage of tape onto there. And I want to try this. I want to knock back the spoiler just a little bit more and see how that handles. I don't know if the rear sway bar, if adjusting that, because it's planted to the ground. It feels fine in cornering. I'm just wondering if by increasing it, if it will help. Because the way that the car is balanced right now is it sticks hard in the corners, and it feels good to take the risk and purposefully loosen it up to gain just that much more speed. Could be dangerous. Let's increase it a couple of clicks, and we'll go ahead and save this as version 3. Let's see what we can do with this. If the engine hits a point where it's overheating, then we will need to fix that. Alright. Let's go ahead and restart the testing session because we need a clear sheet. Double check that we got the right setup in here, and we do. We have version 3 of this. And let's see what we can do. First big concern is the amount of grill tape. Is it going to cause the engine to overheat? It feels zippy. It feels loose and zippy immediately upon exiting the pit road. I can feel the back end chattering, and it feels looser. Yeah, it's really because these tires are cold at the moment. It has slightly better cornering, and it can keep up the speed, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. I knew that the back end was just going to sway out. So let's try that again. So we'll probably have to see about reducing the rear sway bar by a click and see if that helps. I mean, more than anything, I guess, like, with this experimental Phase 3 test setup, it's gonna feel more key that I feel out the ass end of the car and straighten it back out when it wants to slide. It's a massive risk that I'm taking here by purposefully loosening up the car. But if it can build us just that much more speed, it's worth the risk to at least try it. With hitting higher speeds, I can already see that. We're hitting like 178. Once those tires warm up, it feels less, the back end feels less likely like it's going to slide out from underneath me. That's probably not going to be the case as much when it's at the end of the run. The tires don't seem to wear as badly.
30, 0, 0, 6.
It's dangerously free. You hit that, you hit the exits wrong, and it's gonna slide. And it's gonna slide bad. You have to counter steer this thing just to keep it straight. In and out of the corner. Yeah, I got up into the marbles and I looped it around. But now it's like a little bit too loose, so let's get out of the car. What was the best lap? Best lap on that very, very short run was 29.709. So we actually increased our speed and we made things much better by comparison to version 2, but we didn't crack version 1's run. So let's go back into there. Let's go back into the drivetrain and aero. And I'm thinking It was originally at 0. Let's set that at 2. 0.20, 0.250 inches. And let's see how that runs. So hopefully, keyword being hopefully, the car's back end will stick just a little bit better in the corners. So it's not as free, but it's free enough. And then we'll see what we can do in 32 laps. I think maybe the combination of the reduced spoiler angle and the rear sway bar adjustment is what's causing bigger issues. I'm thinking actually it's probably the rear spoiler that's giving me more problems than the rear sway bar was. Because it's like at certain points it just jitters.
29, 8, 3, 8.
Let's try an even balance. Let's try 49 degrees. And let's try. I want to see what this rear sway bar can do. That 1 degree could just be what is throwing us off. Feels slower now, but it does feel a little bit easier to control. It doesn't feel so free that it's going to go flying out from underneath the butt.
8, 1, 1.
Right there, the back end stepped out. I could feel that. Oh, we already beat version 2's time. Let's see if we can beat version 1. Oh yeah, we just beat it. We beat that time by a really good amount. see the oil temperature reaching dangerous levels.
29, 7, 5, 1.
Oil temp is just fine where it's at. I can hear the back end. It's not screaming, but I can hear that koosh almost sound, that rub of the rear tire against the pavement. Oil temp just went on
29, 6, 1, 3.
So, if this is what a car feels like in a solo run, and we've already hit our water temperature of 220, which is a warning, it's not the end of the world, but we will have to keep in mind that in the draft, there's going to be so much less clean air to pull out into to allow the engine to cool down just that much. So as good as this is feeling, and as fast as this is feeling, the grand question is, come race time, come practice time, is this setup going to be viable in terms of being able to run without blowing up? Because right now, it's just a constant red. But if it creeps worse, which it is very, very slowly doing, if it doesn't blow up before the end of this 32-lap run, I will be surprised. But the real danger is when it hits 240 and it's not going down at all. Lap times are consistently faster. Even when I mess up the corners and mess up the front straightaway a little bit, we're still fast. Feel the back end swaying just a little bit. I can actually feel like the muscles right above my elbows and my forearms and fingers just ache. Probably because I'm also a little bit death gripping the wheel, but... I try and squeeze one more lap out of it. And this is why I had such a problem getting it turned around at Darlington last night.
One minute. 5, 5, 4, 6.
All right. Alright, garage. So that actually ran pretty well. That actually ran really well. I want to take a double check at that and see what was the best lap posted. So 29.683 was our best originally. 29.646, 29.628. Jeez. 29.613. I want to see this real quick. $29,596. That was a much faster. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to wrap it up here. So we at least have 3 setups that we tried tonight. We had a best run with our third and final setup with the fastest lap we've even put out tonight. I can't believe that we set a lap time that quick. And these lap times were much faster in terms of like being in the lower area of in the 5s and 6s for the most part. So that's way better than what we were even hitting in version 1 in terms of consistency. Where was that? 25.9. I say 29.9. 599, 596. Ah, there it was. Lap 13. Lap 13. Strange that it was that lap that was the fastest. but we cut into our run. So, all right. Well, I think that's where I'm gonna end it here. I'm getting tired, and it's already going on almost 2:30 a.m. So I think we've done enough practice. I've got at least a base setup that I can work with at this time, and I'll continue working on that ahead. But thank you all for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I will see you again next time. Bye, guys.